Hello everyone, this is Rudy. I'd like to go over the meeting that we had last Thursday in Nogales at Specialty Harness. So let's review very quickly what Mike went over with you guys. First of all, he wanted to tell you about how Epicor describes things. They have a BOM just like everyone else. BOM is a BOM is a BOM, okay? Bill of material. Epicor calls the routing a BOO, a bill of operations. This tells you how to make it. The BOM tells you what to make it out of. Very often, Epicor will refer to a MOM, which is these two put together. The BOO and the BOM is the MOM. ECO group, during the testing we did yesterday, I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is your ECO group for doing further testing. You check in and check out a part. I want to go over all of that with you guys as well. What I'd like to do in this demo for you guys is create a new purchased part or a buy part, and then also create a top assembly and a revision, a new revision for that top assembly. I'll show you how to do that, how to check out parts, how to create methods, operations. Plus, we will actually do one in this demo from scratch without having anything to start with. Don't recommend doing it that way, but that happens sometimes. This is just a small diagram telling you of what I just said. Mike put together this engineering process flow, which is very important. I know that we have 3 different types of engineers: quality, process, and product. All of you will be working. I think all of you should know how to do each other's job. The most important thing is that everything we build has to have a BOM that is a bill of materials. All those materials need to be listed inside of Epicor in order for you to build a BOM. Bill of operations identifies the sequence of steps to build a part. Those need to be in Epicor before you can put an operation on a finished product. Operations are set up in the setup folder along with resources and resource group. Now, a resource is a thing. It is a machine. It is a COMAX machine. It is something that we have that's actually a machine. The person that runs it is also a resource. The COMAX machine won't run itself. There has to be someone to do that. A resource group means where all of these things are. A resource group could be cutting. That would be all the cutting machines and all the people involved in cutting. Methods can be built in quote management, job entry, and in the engineering workbench. Once the method exists, once you build it, it can be pulled into any of 3 different locations. And when I say being pulled, these engineered parts can be pulled into a top level finished good, a subassembly, or a level 2 or level 3 or level 4 subassembly. Right now with Specialty, we're not doing subassemblies. Everything will be laid out flat. Revision control is extremely important in Epicor. It allows you to have multiple approved revisions of a part. There is an operation that you will become very familiar with, and it's going to be called get details. Somebody's going to call you some point, sometime, somewhere, and they're going to say, hey, where's the BOM for this? Hey, it doesn't have this operation, whatever. Get details is your way to effectively bring in things to tell the system how to build it and what to build it out. We're not using MRP for Specialty Harness, so disregard that as that. Now, purchase order suggestions is the mini one that we run, and it will not recognize future revision dates. You must remember that. It will only look at approved revisions, okay? The PO line entry defaults to the revision with the most effective PO. This means whenever you have Guillermo or Eduardo creating a new order, it's going to look at the most recent effective date of revisions. You could have revision A, B, C, D, E, but if B was done yesterday and it has the latest date, that's what it's going to grab. I will also teach you a good habit of also approving only the one revision that affects what we're currently building. Now, why would you even need to save the other ones? Well, if a customer ever calls you back and says, remember 6 months ago you built me a harness, it was Rev J, I need you to build one of those, please. We've got it. We've got them all. Even though they're inactivated, all I've got to do, if I want to build that J revision, is go in, prove it, build it, give Marty all the instructions and everything, and away we go with that one. On the MOM checklist, this is the last slide that Mike gave us. Always build a MOM starting from the lowest level to the top level. I'll show you how to do that. Every method must contain a BOO and a BOM. Every material on the BOM needs to have a quantity per with the correct unit of measure. If it doesn't, it screws up the costing, screws up the customer, screws up purchasing. This is very important. Every material on the BOM must be attached to an operation sequence. Use operation 10 as a default. I'll show you some of that in the demo I'm about to give you. In Epicor, remember, we don't back flush material. We actually front flush it. We issue all the material up front. That way it gets it out of inventory. It helps purchasing. We'll get into that in a little bit later. Every operation must have a production standard. When entering a production standard, make sure the default is minutes per piece. That is something that we will also discuss. There's other drop downs, but how many minutes does it, or how many pieces per minute does it take to create that? Some operations may have setup hour standard, CNC programming, CNC production, but it is not required. You can build it into the production standard. The last operation on the MOM should have the final operation flag set. A subcontract operation must have the subcontract flag set. So what I'd like to do now is to demo some of the things that we did during the class. I know some of you weren't able to attend. I apologize that I did not invite you to the meeting. If you have a set of headphones, please be ready for doing that next Thursday. First thing that I want you guys to do is to go to your icon thing that says Epicor software and look for the Epicor Test 10 environment. It'll look like this. And double click on it. Okay? This is what you'll see when it comes up the very first time. It'll have your username, your computer's username, and password. What we're doing for the meantime is we are using the username 1. This is not case sensitive. Password is. The password is specialty and the numeral 1. Just to reiterate again, and so that you'll have it in front of you, the username is ONE, the password is specialty, the numeral 1, the S is capitalized, so make sure that you have a capped S on your login. It'll look like this. Make sure that this is checked. Classic style is always checked. And then you need to hit this arrow to the right that will bring you into Epicor. Since you guys are all sharing the same account, there may be, I don't know where it's going to start out. You're all using one. Make sure that you're in the database. The Wireshark test, it says test 10 right here. Don't be afraid to go in and look at stuff, but just know that when we do go live, you will only be able to see things that pertain to you. What's important to you guys in engineering is production and material management. Each one of these is called a module. There's a sales management module. Inside sales management, it has 4 submodules. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And you'll notice that almost in every single module and submodule, it has a setup, general operations, and reports. Okay? So let me back up a little bit. I hit sales management and it changed here, right? Sales management, and it gives me all the sub ones. I can open order management, or I can double click on it here and it opens up, same thing. Kind of like Outlook. The setup, general operations, and reports are most common almost on every single module. Obviously what setup means is this is how I build things. Maximize, just looks easier on the eyes. I can show you stuff easier, zoom in on it and stuff like that. Order management has a setup folder, general operations, and reports. Setup, that's where I would go to build a new part. But if I go into production management, job management, setup, it's got part again. If I go into engineering setup, it's got part again. If I go into material management, inventory management setup, it's got part again. Just know this, they are all exactly the same module. I'm not going to have to create the part 4 or 5 times. This is just for ease of use. Epicor has made it available very often, most things that you use all the time. Let's say that I am Edson. I'm going to use part a lot. I don't want to have to go through and look for it every time. Here's something you can do. Whenever you see part, not part tracker, not part advisor, but if you're in a setup folder and you see something you use a lot like part, take your mouse, put it over that, right click, add it to your favorite bar. Now, I have 2 major tabs on top here. This is the one that lets me drill down, and then I have one called favorites. So all I have to do is go to my list of favorites. It just cuts down on all types of searches and things like that. One thing that I'd like for you to note right off the bat, and it's a rule going through almost every single screen in Epicor. I'm going to go to a place where you guys are going to live. Engineers live in production management because that's where the jobs exist. In Epicor, work orders are called jobs. Get used to that terminology. Scheduling, engineering is where you're going to live. But you may want to go in and create a new part like we're going to do today. Look at the inventory, see what's in the warehouses. You'll be able to look at a lot of different data that a lot of other people won't. Plus, you'll be able to look at sales and quoting because that's where you're going to live. Now, also in production, there is a QA section. We're going to have a meeting next Tuesday. Anyone that is related to, involved with, has anything to do with quality assurance, DMRs, RMAs, you may want to come to this. Ask for an invitation from me. My email address is rrodriguez@atronics.com. You can call me at my number here at the office. I am at extension 3208. If you're at the plant, you can just pick up the phone and dial 3208. Here's a big thing to notice the difference of. I'm going to go to engineering, and in most of your general operations, you're going to have things called trackers. Here is the big difference. If I'm in job management setup and I go to part, the difference between part and part tracker is that if I'm in part, I can create a new part. If I'm in tracker, I can only see what has already been created. Big difference. You'll see customer tracker, invoice tracker, you'll see part tracker. Anything that says tracker means you can only see stuff. You'll see a lot of good information, but that's created for people that we don't want to be in there in part maintenance like this. We don't want them to be able to create a new part. Just go like this and go. Epicor will say, hey, I've never seen that before. You want to create a new record, a new part. And we don't want them to be able to say yes and then go for broke like that. We do not want that. Okay. Anytime I make a mistake or anything like that, I'm just going to hit this delete button here and it'll get rid of it. This is save, delete. This is to add an attachment. Refresh is to refresh data. Clear means if I had a part number up here, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and I'm done looking at it, I don't want to make any changes to it, I can hit this little broom and it clears the form. Okay, you notice when I want to look something up, anytime in Epicor you have this kind of black box here, that's a search. It works the same as this little pair of binoculars up here. All it is a search. Okay, I can search by part number or search word. I can, if I know the first letter or something of whatever I'm looking for, I can just type it in. Then you have to hit this black box called search, and it gives you everything that starts with a B. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of records, especially at Specialty Harness. Okay, notice it only gave me back 100. I can go to I'm going to clear this search real quick. Clear results, new search. Before I do anything, I can go to options, give me all roles. Don't just give me the first 100, give me all the parts that start with a B. I'm going to hit search, and it's 2,888 parts that start with B. I'm going to clear the search. Let's say that I want all the parts that have wire in the description that are purchased. Okay? There's 873 parts. Now, not all of them are wire. Here's your class. Some of them are cables. Some of them are finished, connectors. There's a jacket probably. But it had wire in the description. And it doesn't mean that the description has to start with wire. Look at this one here. Notice how I can make the description wider. Somewhere in here it has the word wire. That's why it returned it. There it is. It's at the last. If wire's in the middle on this one. I told this where the part description contains wire. Give me back that. All right, for the first exercise, the one we did in the conference room, we're going to grab this part number here. And we're going to create a new purchase part with your initials -P or dash whatever you want to make that. Let's change it today to Z. Okay, your initials -Z. But I want you to copy this part number and create a new purchased part number from Highland that is your initials -Z. So how do we get there? Good question. First thing to do, look at your main menu. I'm going to go to production because that's where I live. I'm going to go into engineering and I'm going to go into setup. There is a module called part. Double click on part. This is what should come up for you. This is the part module. Now remember, if you wrote it down or not, you grab part entry screen. Now as Mike Bittner was explaining to everyone, don't hit enter. Nothing happens with enter in Epicor. It's all the tab key. I'm going to take a picture of the tab key and I'm going to put it up here so you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's tab, not enter. Okay, so I'm going to hit tab. Here's the part. Explain some things about it. Okay, first of all, the part number can be as many as, I think it's 50 characters. Yes, that is true. Your part number can have as many as 50 characters. ICA part number supposedly is the manufacturing part number. We're just setting all that up. Description. You'll notice also they have little subtabs up here. Description, I believe description is as many as 1,000 characters. So you could have a very, 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 very long description if you need to have that. But anyway, that's where this goes. It is a required field. I can't have a part number without a description of what it is. The other required field is I have to tell the system, is it something we buy, a buy part, which they call purchased part in Epicor, or is it a top assembly, something or a sub-assembly, something that we have to manufacture. Sales kit, we don't use really in our line of business. We use manufactured and purchased. So your type has to be one of those. Units of measure, very important. It really has to be an each or it has to be foot. Anything that's 6 inches should be 0.5 foot on your bill of materials. Other two extremely important things to know about this is group. Group pertains, Epicor calls everything a part. Everything a part, whether it's a purchase part or something that we manufacture. Everything's called a part. But group pertains more to the sales aspect of it. If one of our customers, Joe's Boats, came up and said, hey Edson, I would like to buy this part. That normally doesn't happen. We're not normally going to sell this terminal. But if they did and we could make good money off of it, I mean it's only 7 cents, but we could sell it for 50 cents, we'd do it all day. What you must tell Epicor is, I know this is a purchased part. I know that we don't normally sell it. But if we ever did, I want to put it in the category of other, because I don't know if the company that is purchasing it is going to be a marine company or military, oil and gas, whatever. So usually on a purchased raw material, the group is always other. Now, if this was a top assembly, this was something that one of our big customers buys, and it is a manufactured item, then you'd have to pick, well, that customer is, what is their group? Are they heavy construction? Are they HVAC equipment, LED lighting? Are they medical? What is their business for me to sell this finished good? This right now, for this, we're just going to do other because it is a purchased item. Class is the important thing on purchased items, because that tells Epicor where to book it whenever our purchasing department creates a purchase order, whenever our engineering department puts it on a BOM, whenever we consume material out on the floor. We need to know what bucket. This is the bucket to put it in, not the bin. I'm talking about the part class. This one happens to be terminal. It could be sheet metal. It could be seals. It could be labels. Whatever it is, that's what the part class is. If I try to save this part, here's my little save button, the system will tell me you have to have a group and a class. It won't let you save it without it. I'm going to put in terminal again. We don't have to worry about any of these right now. Here are a couple of other extremely important things. It's going to default to average cost, because that's all companies are on average cost. But these two are very important as well. Non-stock item. If this terminal is not to be stocked, we don't have it in a bin. It's a one-time thing or whatever. I can mark it, I can leave it alone like that, and it is a non-stock item. Most non-stock items are manufactured items, okay? Because we don't keep a bunch of harnesses for our big customers just lying around. We build them when they order them. We're a make-to-order shop. Most of your purchase parts that we do stock are not going to have this checked. Remember that. Purchase parts are stocked. They don't have this non-stock flag checked. Quantity bearing. Important point to make about that. Anything that we count that we're going to have on a stock status report, we have to have this checked. The reason is because if you're going to do a cycle count, most of your purchase parts are not revs. You can have a purchase part that you get from Highland or whoever, and you say, oh, I need Rev 27. And we can track that within Epicor. I can create a new Rev for this purchased part. But normally you don't, okay? We don't track lots. We don't track serial numbers here. Epicor does allow for those, but we don't do them here. I'm going to save this real quick, and it says you've changed that. You want to save it? Yes. Okay. Anytime you hit save, and you did something, it's going to ask you, do you want to keep it that way? Are you sure? Yeah. There are tabs here. Look at them, see what they mean, play with them. Like I said, you're not going to hurt anything. You're not going to kill anything. So in test, educate yourself. That's a good idea to go in and look at stuff. The next part, when you're creating a new purchase part to look at, is sites. Sites is another name for plan. Okay, this is our site. Our site is the wire shop in this test. And what sites is telling me is that it is a quantity bearing item. It is a raw material. If that is not checked, make sure you check it. Okay? Make sure that that's checked. It is raw material. It's something we use to make something else. Generate PO suggestion, most important. Most important checkbox, because when purchasing runs their little mini MRP, their purchase suggestions, if that is not checked, it's not going to know to buy it. There are minimum order quantities, maximum order quantities, safe stock, reorder to max. There is a preferred buyer. Usually at the wire shop, it is Erica. I don't know if you people speak with Patty Lopez, but we've changed it to mostly Erica is the preferred buyer. But for this, specialty one is who you're logging in as, so we're going to say specialty one is the buyer. There may be an MOQ. Maybe they only sell them in 7,000. Or maybe it's loose terminals and you can get them in increments of 100. Here's your lead time from that particular supplier. I'm going to put this back at 7,000. Remember this? Always make sure that's checked and raw materials checked. I'm going to save it. This is a new field. You have it in test. Joe is setting up a customization because of the requirements that ICA has, to where they're going to put a price in here. You will not be able to change its price. This will be the negotiated estimated annual usage price that we negotiated with whomever the supplier is, and there'll be a price in there that only Joe and Nahar can change. If this is 0, then whenever the purchasing person tries to create an order, whenever you try to create a bill of materials and you're going to check and see how much does this cost, you can't put anything in there because there has to be something in here that's a negotiated price Joe and Medi have approved of. So this page, very important. Other place to look is go into warehouses, under sites, warehouses, and then look at primary bin. Okay, this is where this item is located in the warehouse. Sites means your plant, warehouses means your warehouse, primary bin is where this is located. So if I look at the system and I say, hey, it says I have 1,000 of these, where in the heck are they? This one happens to be in a floor bin, meaning it's out on the floor in a terminal bin. There may be one behind the cage. There may be one in another warehouse in another part of the building, but this is the default place that it will tell you it should go whenever Jesus or whoever it is in inventory is accepting receipt of new raw material. It's going to throw it in this primary bin. You got to fill one out there. Okay, so those are the important parts of creating a purchase part. I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. Let's say I'm getting another terminal from the same vendor. It's a new part. What I can do is I can go to actions. While I have this part up, I can, and I want you guys to do this. Bring this part up, in part, actions, duplicate. I would like for you to duplicate this terminal, but call it something totally different. Call it your first initials. You remember how I said in the instructions? We're going to call it your initials dash Z. So this part is going to call RSR dash Z. That's the name of my part. Change the description if you want. I don't care. Start it with your initials. And then whatever, I'm just going to put generic description. And as soon as you hit OK, what happens is it copies that exact part, 170003-4, and it creates a part exactly like it. Same cost, same everything. If it had a revision, it'd be the same revision. If it was a finished good, it would have the same revision and everything. The same site, the same buyer, the same MOQ, everything. But at least I know it's not the same part, but it's a good place for me to start to create this new part. So now I can go in and go, okay, on sites, the buyer is going to be Rudy. They don't have a minimum order quantity. Their lead time is 2 days for this particular part. And then Joe and them would negotiate a price, and it would be, 0.06954, whatever. Okay? This is an example. Make sure it's a purchase part, remember. Make sure you have, under warehouse primary bin, you have a bin. You can't make something up. It has to be something that exists already. How do I know? Remember I said you hit the black box and you can go look for stuff. Anytime you're in question about anything, hit the black box and go look for stuff. Bins, so I'm going to look for, we have 633 bins. So there it is, I'm going to hit save. New part, you'll have a new ICA part, manufacturing part number, has new description. It is a purchase part, counted. Everything is exactly the same as the other, except for, I think I should put it as average. Yeah, sorry. I got to change the other one. Anytime I make a change, notice that something will pop up and you've changed the following fields. Do you want to refresh the part site record? Yes. Now that you've created your part, what I would like for you to do is stay here under part. Remember the little clear button, the little brush. I'm going to say yes, clear this form. So you have nothing in front of you here. But now I want to go look for the part that I just created. What's the best way to do that? Well, I can just go RSR-Z because I know the part number and it brings it up. I'm going to clear it again. If I don't remember the part number, I need to look for it, I can go to part. I can look for it by search word. The search word is term, right? Bring me back everything that says term. And there's 855. I don't want to look through all of those, but I know it started with RSR. I can part. Notice this. At the top of each of these grids is the name of that particular row. Description. If I hit description with my mouse, it alphabetizes them by description. I can do that to any of these, class or part. Well, I know it started with RSR, and there's RSR-Z. I click on it, hit OK, or I can double click on it, and it'll bring up the same part. Okay, that's one way to look for it. Another way to look for it, I'm clearing this out again, is I go to part, and I said, give me everything that starts with RSR. And there's actually three things. So there's the one I just created, that term with RSR-Z. I can find it that way. Still another way, like I was showing you earlier, is I can, anything that has term in the part description, find me stuff. To even go further, anything that starts, the part number starts with an R that has term, go find me that. Okay, so let me do that again. So I can, the other way to look for it is I can say where the description contains terminal, right? And I'll hit search, and it'll give me, there's way over 100. So I'm going to say starting at RSR that has terminal in there, and it should give me, yes, there's my part right there. It has terminal in the description, and it starts with RSR. I can pick it that way. Most of the time, we'll have barcodes on stuff. You put your cursor in here, and you have barcode. I cannot change the name of a part once I've used it on a BOM, once I've purchased it. I can change the description all day long, day in, day out. Don't recommend doing that, but you can. You can change the search word and all this and that. But if I ever buy this part from Highland, I think, yeah, from anybody, if I add it on a BOM, I cannot go in the next thing and go, oh crap, I meant to name it ZR, because it's going to want to create a new part called RSR-ZR. You know, and then I'll have to inactivate this one and put something on here, don't use this or something, because you can never delete something that you've already used, just like visibility. Next thing that we did Thursday is we created a new top assembly out of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this top assembly, and I'm going to put that, I'm going to clear this form, in the part number here. It will bring up a manufactured part that's called that. It goes in the group. Remember I said group is more for finished goods, and there is a group for that. And the class is finished goods from Mexico. The difference with a manufactured part is they all have to have a revision. This one is on revision Q. Okay, it may have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 revisions. This one has 1. Okay, what I would like for you to do on part detail, this part number, let's duplicate it. Okay, and what I would like you to call this new part number are your initials dash FG for finished good. Okay, and then here description RSR space whatever you want to put there. I don't care. Goods tester for, and I'm going to say okay. What happens immediately, just like it did in the purchase part, it will go out and make an exact copy of the finished good. All of its BOM, all of its routings or BOO. It's going to have a BOM and a BOO. If I look under revisions, you'll notice, here's my new part, right? RSR-FG for finished goods. Yours will have your initials -FG. But if you look under revisions, it will not be approved. Okay, even though, do this for me. Where it says Rev Q, right click, open with Method Tracker. Let's zoom in on Method Tracker. Method Tracker is how is this built? Here's your operations, your routings, right? Cut term, symbol, weld, plug, blah, blah, blah. This is how they make them, right? Final inspection. And here are the materials that are required to build it. Okay, I need one of these. They have a 5% scrap rate. I need one of these. I need one of these. 5% scrap. They incorporate their scrap numbers in. Okay, so this tells me what I need. This tells me how to build it. It is a MOM. It is a BOO, Bill of Operations, and a BOM, Bill of Materials. If I go to the Actions button, do me this favor while you're here, under Method Tracker, go to Actions, View Cost. Add that, and that's what it costs to build this. So 32, 42, 43. This costs $43. We'd probably sell it for, I don't know, 69, 70, 80 bucks. I don't know what our markup is on that. We'll get into that later. I just wanted you to see this. Check out all the different tabs, all the different things you can leave on here. Method Tracker, not approved. Part of it, this, okay? So what I could do, if it's built properly and they just wanted to change the name or whatever, I can do this. Boom. Notice, anytime there's a change, I got to put in something like whatever, but it's going to have my initials. Now, what I want to show you guys how to do is something that you're going to do day in and day out, and why this engineering workbench is so important to what we do. So for this first class, I want you guys to get on your part. This is your part. Remember that. I want you to go to the Revision tab. Part, Revision. Fast forward, pause this thing, rewind it, whatever you want. I want you to get on the right thing. Okay? You're on Part, Revision. Not Part Detail. Part, Revision. Go to Actions, Revision. Check out Revision. I want to check out Revision Q. The system is asking me, ECO means Engineering Change Order. So I assigned you guys groups. I think I created 6 different ones. You can be 1, you can be 2. If you hit the tab button, it'll work all the way up to 6. If for some reason you don't see it, you can create a new ECO, or you can just hit the black box. Remember I told you, hit the black box to search, and you can go in here and go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to be FOB today. That's my ECO. Then I'm going to hit OK. Please be patient. Notice that this is no longer approved. The Q is not approved because it's been checked out. While I'm still on revision, go to Actions Revision, Engineering Workbench, tu casa, where you're going to live. You're going to live in Engineering Workbench. This is what Engineering Workbench looks like. There's all your material. There's all your operations. I can go to Actions, Revision, View Cost, same as I did a minute ago. And it'll tell me same price, 40-something bucks, okay? So this is all good. I can go in and change things because I'm an Engineering Workbench. Let's look at the first material. It says we need 1. Everybody change it to where now we need 10. 10 terminals instead of 1. Notice how the scrap percentage of 5 went away. I'm going to put in 10% scrap, which means the bill of material will say I need 11 instead of 10. Even though I'm calling for 10, I'm telling it I need 10% scrap. If I change it back to 5, watch this go away. You got to set scrap if you change the quantity. Okay, so we had 1. Let's change it to 10, like I said. Okay, that's going to make it more expensive. You can put scrap in here if you want. I'm going to put 10% scrap, so it'll give me an extra 1 terminal. You don't have to. It doesn't require you to. I can hit fixed quantity, which means I need 10. I'm not going to have any scrap. 10 is all I need. That's all I'm ever going to need. Or I can do like I'm doing and hit 10% scrap. If I hit 10 quantity scrap, it's going to give me 20 on the bill of material instead of the 10% over 10, which is 11. Be careful. You can end up costing something incorrectly. So let's make that 1 change to it. I'm going to hit save. Under operations, let it save. I'm going to close this operation material. I'm going to open up operations. Let's look at the first operation. It says here, the standard for wire cutting terminate for this machine that they have at the wire shop is 1,500 operations per hour. They can do 1,500 operations per hour. For this particular one, there's 54 operations. Just for grins, change this to 75. Okay? I just want to change a few things so that you'll know you can. Okay? Now, hit save right up here. It's just a good habit of getting into. But remember, hit save, then refresh. Because if you make a change, well, let me show you. I'm going to change this to 70, or let's say 65. Okay? If I hit refresh, it's not going to save to 65. It's going to go back to 75. I'm going to leave it at 75. So I'm going to open up operations. Go to the very last operation. Under the very last operation, I want you to always remember to click Final Operation. Another thing to watch out for is these operations up here that come before the final operation. It just so happens that the wire shop back flushes everything. They back flush everything. Okay? No one's out there actually putting in quantities and stuff. You guys are going to do a couple of things that way. An operation where someone on the floor, a supervisor, is going to go in and go, guess what? It's all cut now. It's cut. We call this quantity only. Because they're going to go into another system with Epicor and they're going to say, I am the wire cutter here at the Comax. I cut however many pieces it says I should have cut. Okay? So that's going to know to back flush this standard. Okay? But if it just says back flush, the guy out there at the Comax machine will never have the opportunity to go in there and put a quantity. He will not, because what you're telling Epicor is, we're not going to put quantity only. We want you to back flush whatever the standard is. And upon entry of this very last operation that says quantity only, whatever quantity I finish that can be sent to a customer, it will take that amount and it'll backflush that amount of every one of these operations, if they're all marked backflush. Make sense? You're going to get to do some. Okay. Let's go back to actions. You're still in Engineering Workbench. Okay? Revision. And I want you to clear all. It's going to take every single thing away. And it's going to tell you that. It's going to ask you that one time. Clear all materials, rules, and operations for this part. You sure? I'll say yes. So guess what? This no longer has a mom or a bomb or anything. Attachments Mike talked about. It's got a drawing. It's got work instructions. If I expand them and right click, I'm going to remove them. Yeah, this is a brand new dilly here. Okay? So the first way I'm going to show you how to build this is to build it from a separate part. Okay? So now that this is all cleared out, I can go to actions, revision, I can view cost, and it'll be zeros. You don't have any way to build it, so there's no labor. You don't have any materials, so everything's zero. Okay? But what I'm going to tell the system is, I would like to go get details from another part or another job or another quote. So it doesn't have to be this same part. It could be the first one I started with. Remember? So grab that part number again and bring that in to here. We're telling Epicor, go find this part for me, please. Hit tab, and it's Rev Q. Or I can, if there's something else closer, I'm going to look for manufactured parts in Epicor, and I'm going to say, geez, this one's close to what I'm trying to build. This one here. Pick any finished good product that has a BOM and is quantity bearing, and say OK. Pick the correct revision that you want to draw from. And then all these are good. I can go to a job and look for a job that has a similar part like this and pick a job that has that. There's not any, but I could go to a quote and look for my quotes that people put out there and say, oh, yeah, that's the one I want. Or I can go to a linked quote that are linked to that particular part. But I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to say, okay, just because I want to show you guys, it can be anything. What this brought back was 4 operations and 5 material. Maybe a different print. Mike put the same work instructions almost on everything. I'm going to remove these because I want the most recent and best stuff. Okay? I will remind you guys that when you create attachments, the customer emails you a BOM or a drawing, anything like that. Alan was telling me that you guys create a folder for a new part from that customer. It'll be whatever the name of the drive is, customer name, part number, and then I guess whatever folder's underneath that. Remember when you're attaching something. Right now I want to attach this BOM, this drawing, this video to this engineering workbench. But it is only, let me show you how to do it. You grab it, you can click and drag. I'm going to drag it up to this rev. Notice that it put it in here. Okay. Let's drag it over here so you can see it real quick. This is just an imaginary thing. But know that if I move, you notice how it came up, as soon as I double clicked, it came right up, right? But if I move this and it is no longer in this folder and it's located somewhere else, I won't be able to, I can double click this all day and Epicor will get stuck. It'll keep trying to find it and find it and find it and find it because it's not where you said it was. Okay, but that's how easy it is to, you just drag and you drop and it puts drawings, whatever it is that you need to see, it'll put them up here so that when you double click, they'll come up. Work instructions, whatever it is you need. You can even put, I showed them the other day, you can have small videos attached so maybe people on the floor will know how to do a certain thing, maybe E-Z-GO, maybe whomever wants you to do things a certain way. You can also attach videos or certain instructions, quality certifications, what they need you to check. All those can be attached here. But like I said, once you have them in one place, if you're going to move them, you need to come up here and right click and remove it, move it, and then link it again, because this is no more than a link. That's all it is. It's a link. It doesn't really exist in Epicor. It's just a link. Okay? But it's kind of cool because now whenever somebody builds this, it's going to go out to the floor and it's going to have the same attachments it did in the quote, in the sales order, in the job, in the part master. They all have the same thing associated with it, and the same revision. Okay? So let's say we've already made all the changes that we've made and you're good now. So I want you to go to Actions, Group, Approve, and Check in All. Now that's Group FOB. Yours might be Group 1, yours might be Group 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You can also go Revision, View Cost. I can look at the cost. I kicked up quite a bit because I put some more labor in it and more material. Remember, we put 10. I can also go to Revision, Approve and Check in, or just Approve. I just want to approve this, but I don't want to check it in because I don't want anyone selling it yet. I can approve and check in because I'm still I'm still going to be an engineering workbench. I have 10 other parts to work on. Or you can do what I did, is like, guess what? Just approve and check in everything in my group. Everything in my group. I'm done for the day. Do it. Gotta obviously take care of your change log. Who's doing it? It was FOB that did it, and the user was 1. Once you get this, it'll clear out your workbench. Workbench is gone. I can get out of here. If I go back to that part, here's the part, now what was it? RSRFG. Okay, if I go back to this part and I look at revision, remember how it was not approved? If I hit this refresh key, please hit the refresh key, you will see that it is now approved, meaning now it can be sold by Eduardo and Guillermo or whoever it is that's customer service out there. I can also right click, go to method tracker. I can see the method, how it's built, the material needed, the operations. I can also look at the cost, just like you did on the other one. Okay? But engineers are the only people that can approve and unapprove revisions. If it is that Eduardo saying, that's the wrong, whatever they want to buy, instead of revision Q, they want to buy revision X that's listed here. He cannot do this. Epicor is automatically going to go to the last effective date, the last approved one. But if I create another revision and I have to unapprove the other revision, so there really should only be one approved revision on there. The engineering department's the only people that'll be able to do that. Okay? What we will cover in the next session is what other ways can you create a finished good without using duplicate? How do you do it from scratch? How do you do it from a BOM a customer sends you? I'll show you that on the next one. Thank you guys for your attention. We'll pick this up again Thursday. Thank you.